Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to get a win against a team like Tulsa, which is very tough and physical. I thought our kids responded the right way. I thought we defended as well as we have all year long, especially in the second half. So, but I knew, Tulsa's obviously we did a good job of contesting shots, and we made shots. I really was impressed with Keon Clergeau and Christian Kessie and Craig Randall. They gave us a big lift in the first half coming off the bench. Any questions?
Speaking about Christian Kessie, normally you'll give him a look and he'll miss and he comes out. Did you feel like a sense of relief when his shot went in early in the game, like I can let him play a few more minutes and give some of these other guys rest?
Well, he's been playing well in practice. So, and Jeremiah was struggling. We were struggling from the outside shooting it. Both Christian and Keon and Craig have really been shooting well in practice. And so I thought it'd be a good time since we were down, 8-9, 10-0, something like that. And we were bricking. We throwing some bricks up there. It was time, and our energy level just wasn't there. So, so that's why we were able to get, and it's helped a lot. I think it helped with Jeremiah, giving him a break, Markel, an early break, rest on. I think those things paid dividends in the second half. We didn't get but we were consistently good defensively tonight. And that was why we won the game.
Coach, Diedrich and Markel were just in here saying you were pretty fiery in practice yesterday, and they said they think they respond better when you're on them like that. Is this something you gotta? Can you sustain this type of? Can you sustain this?
Gee whiz. I hope not. But some people, if you're going to get the most out of people, most people are not self-motivators. They need someone pushing and pulling and tugging at them all the time and you can get in a rut. And I think that happened. We were so concerned about their energy level, their minutes, So I've been practicing. I'm not going to worry about that anymore. And we really worry about it in practice, probably more so in the game. And you can see that they were, just were playing hard or working hard in practice. But it was my fault because we were, as I said, we were trying to monitor their time, their minutes. Because usually in practice, just like in a game, Diedrich, KJ, Markel, Jeremiah, and all of them, Jamario, they're all on the court the entire practice. It's not like they're standing ever. And that's a problem. It's not when they don't get a chance to really get a break in practice. So, but, one thing I saw is that we've got to practice the way you play. And if you don't, you're going to get just that result. It's not like they weren't working hard. It's just the intensity level. And yesterday we had to raise the intensity level. But more importantly, we went back to some fundamentals in our defense and our defensive principles. And I think they looked like they responded the right way. I don't think it's so much me being. I think it's more the intensity and the urgency that you have to have, and you have to practice that in order to perform.
Coach, yesterday you called out Markel and his effort, and he responded great. Anybody else?
His effort when?
Excuse me?
I call out his effort?
No, call out what his play over the last couple of games. Over the last couple of games. Yeah. Anybody else? And he responded with a great game this game. Anybody else you want to call out?
No. I'm trying to I've talked about his, he was in a boot, so he hasn't played well now. I think he's just healthy. I think his foot is now fully mended, and he's recovered. He's had the treatment. That's probably what it is. And so, but you're out there playing, we expect you to perform. And some kids don't want to tell you, hey, coach, something's not right. So, but there's a few. I'm not going to call them out. They played so well tonight. I think I'll pass on that one. Oh no, we got I think Jamario. No, just kidding. No, but he tweaked his ankle early on. And so I said, what is wrong? He said, well, Coach, and so psychologically it has something to do with how you play. I know when you're not healthy, it's just and something is bothering you, your balance, your footwork, and with him, his quickness off the court, his explosiveness is what is his game.
We kind of asked the guys this when they were out here as well. For the second game in a row, you guys have kind of gotten off to a slow start, and it's kind of a two-part question. What do you think attributed to those slow starts? And tonight, I mean, you really came out and responded in the second half. Was there anything in particular at halftime that you told the guys, or any adjustment that you made?
No, I think most teams, this team beat us. Tulsa beat us before, and so they're a pretty talented team. They had Cincinnati beat. They're not bad. They had a tough loss, but SMU is a pretty talented team. So, everybody gets your tape. You get their tape. You figure out what you can do differently and what you can, exploit. And I thought we did a good job of sticking to the game plan. And early on, I was really concerned because we didn't see, but they were doing a good job of making us stand around. They came down, they were in man-to-man switching, and they went to the 1-3-1, they went 2-3. So I was kind of concerned that we were spending too much time dribbling. I mean, Jeremiah caught it and dribbled, and KJ would catch it and dribble. That's not our offense. So it was more, I think that's why we were so stagnant in the early part of the game. And when we're passing the ball, we're much more effective. And the defense will break down, and we'll get a better look. And I thought our shot selection, but that was because we had better ball movement after we put those guys in.
Coach, the big guys for Tulsa really doing a good job of sealing on the inside in the first half. What adjustments did you make in the second half to really nullify that?
Well, we really did some switching in the second half, and that was huge. Because you saw sometimes, if you switch it, they can't get the angle to seal you and post you down low. Even if you're Jeremiah switching on Ito, he's going to have to. He's quicker, so he can front him. Now the same passing lane is not there. Now you've got to throw it over the top and lob it more. And we did a little better job of pressuring the passer. That's one of the things we emphasized in halftime is better ball pressure, and look to switch those pick and rolls sometimes when you and force. And now you've got a bigger guy pressuring the guard, or the big guy who's trying to throw it into a little guy who's kind of. And I think that was pretty effective for us.
You talked about the bench earlier. I wanted to specifically about Christian and his sort of progress over the course of the year. Obviously, I think he had 7 points tonight. He had 7 points in his previous 16 games. But he put up numbers last year at Coppin State. I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but how has this season gone for him in your eyes? How has he been able to kind of stay even keeled through his inconsistency so far?
Well, I think he's living out his dream, like they all are. He's playing Division I basketball in a major program. That's why he came here. And he understands he was going to be competition. He knew he was on the roster, and so he, just. He's a guy that gives everything he has in practice, as I said before. So he's handled it extremely well. I've been very pleased and happy with him. He's a guy that I tell the players all the time. He's probably a guy that some of them are going to be working for someday, because he's a smart kid. He's got 1 degree. He's getting ready to get a 2nd degree. So that's what it's about. And so it's about living out your dream, and throughout that course, making sure that you get your education so you can be, a good tax-paying citizen.
Coach, your last game against Tulsa, it was probably your worst defensive performance of the calendar year 2017. Was it important for you?
The last outing with them, you said?
Yeah, on the road when you gave up 81.
Yeah. You mean against Tulsa, you said?
Against Tulsa, right.
Yeah.
So this time you turned around, you held them to 44. Was that a point of contention? And second question, for you, after all these years, do you still get nostalgic when you coach against your first coaching opportunity?
Yeah, you see people that I've known from day one. I mean, a guy that was here tonight that I hadn't seen in a while, Doc Bryan, he was a dentist, and he used to run the Tulsa Hawks AAU program. And I'll never forget, I was leaving Kentucky, and he sent me a FedEx package. Was at my doorstep in Kentucky when I got back. And he had a list of players I needed to recruit. And Alvin Pooh Williamson was one of them. Shea Seals was the other one. Guess what? Shea Seals was the leading scorer in the history of Tulsa basketball. Alvin Pooh Williamson is as good a point guard as I think I've coached, as far as taking care of the basketball, understanding the game, and they're both talented, just like my staff, you know, and I've got a great staff that are doing wonderful things for us. You know, they stay on top of things, from Joe Esposito with his tweets or whatever he does, to Saul, to everybody that really contributes. It's really a team effort in the office there, and I got guys that are doing some great things. But that's what makes you nostalgic when you see those young men. In fact, their radio announcer, who's a color guy, J.R. Rollo, 6'10", about 300 pounds, sitting over there. So he's a guy that played for us. So it was, and then to see Doc Merriman, who's been there forever on the bench it means a lot. It really is heart, warming. It is, I was disappointed we didn't beat him there, but Frank Heath is a pretty good coach, and he's got a very good staff.
Tubby, it seemed you've been around the game a long time. It seemed from Sunday after the Central Florida game, even to when you talked to us yesterday, you made a concerted effort to maybe push your team a little bit more, call out your team. Is there just a time in the season where you think that they need to get that message, even if you have to do what you did both Sunday afternoon and yesterday when you spoke to us?
Yes, I think it comes a point in time, if they don't do it themselves, then the coach has to do it. Much like what Mike Krzyzewski does, had to do. I mean, it comes a point because there's slippage, there's a sharpness, and we always break the season down in about 3 different segments. You have the preseason, the in-season, you have postseason, and what happens at this time of the year, you have to recommit to the fundamentals because you fatigue. So what happens is your shot, you're not using your legs on your shot. In Markel's case, it was all arm. And you see when Diedrich's, when he's not using his legs to shoot or anybody, it's because of fatigue. So we have to go back to figure out, okay, how do we tweak this? How do we improve? How do we change to do that? And so, every year we've actually gone back to early morning practices wherever I've been. We start a new season because we want to be playing. We tell our guys we're going to play another whole season starting now, and that's the mentality that we want to instill in them. That it's not going to end in the last game of the year. It's not going to end with the conference play. We're going to continue to play, and so we have to prepare for that. So I think when you prepare for it, you get mentally psyched, and hey, man, you rededicate yourself to doing things better.
Do you think you have their attention?
I hope so. You never know. They're young people that are influenced by a lot of different things, but I think we do. They responded the right way tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
You got it.